You need this stuff. Tampa Bay's Tan Talk Radio Network.
Good afternoon. You're listening to Focal Point on Tan Talk 1340. I am your host, Gil Pinney. I am your Focal Point business coach. This is the show for improving your business and your overall performance. This is a unique and one-of-a-kind radio program for Tampa Bay and, frankly, for the whole state of Florida. Today, we have a guest in the studio, Mr. Mark Vernick. Welcome, Mark.
Hi, Gil. How are you?
Good. He's a certified financial planner. He brings sage and expert advice on the longer-term planning for your business, and we'll get into that in a little while. But we would like you to be part of our broadcast, and we're glad you're listening. We'd also like to get your thoughts and ideas and questions. So please give us a call at 727-441-3000. Send me an email at gilpinney@yahoo.com, or send us a tweet at PinneyG. That's Pinney G. Yes, not Kenny, Pinney. The best way to gain your clarity is to participate, and we definitely thrive on that participation and look forward to your calling in. As I said, we have Mark here with us. Going to talk first a little bit, and many people may not care, but if you watched the golf tournament yesterday about the PGA Tour, it was won by Jason Day, and Jordan Spieth was the runner-up, and both of these young men, one is a ripe old 27, and the Jordan Spieth is an old man at 22, but the teamwork between the caddy and the player was absolutely phenomenal. The caddy would give positive reinforcement regardless of what kind of shot the player hit. They would tell him in the next shot, you've got this, you know exactly what to do, you know exactly how to lay this ball where it needs to go. And you know what? 99.9% of the time, the player executed exactly with the vision that the caddy placed in this guy in the player's head. So that was really amazing. And then to hear Jordan Spieth talk, and it was prior to the fourth round yesterday, he spoke like he was a NASCAR driver. He was talking about how the team behind him felt that they would have a good year, and he clearly has had one of the most phenomenal years in history. In fact, he was minus 54 for all the majors, which broke Tiger Woods' record of minus 53. So he was very, very good. He was conscious of his swing coach, his sports psychologist, his family, friends, and, of course, his caddy. So the key thing for all of us to take from that is, we talked about this a few weeks ago with Sean Anker, it was, have you developed your support team? Do you have your support team behind you? Do you have your financial guy? Do you have your business coach? Do you have those people ready and willing to help you when that bad shot arrives, or when something unexpected comes either into your life or into your business performance, how you're going to take care of that? And so part of that is why you need a business coach, just like why do you need a swing coach, is we provide a money-back guarantee so you know your risk is low and your gain is going to be high. A business coach is an advisor who will work with you to identify your strengths and opportunities, and I will help you achieve your goals and teach you how to track your progress and motivate you to be the best in your business. If you remember those key accomplishments in your life, if you're lucky enough to have hit a hole-in-one, what did that feel like? That's what we want you to feel like every day when you're on your way to work, knowing that your day is going to be successful and it's going to be part of your longer legacy. Things coming up over the next few weeks. We have the Transform Your Business Workshop to assure you're finishing off the year 2015 in a strong manner, and then get your 2016 off to a running start. This workshop is an 8-week workshop. It starts September 29th and will conclude on November 17th. It's from 6 to 7 p.m. each week, and you can go to Eventbrite. The topics will be covering are your orientation and mindset, your behavior styles, good execution for an entrepreneur, business metrics, building a successful strategic plan, identifying and overcoming your competition, effective marketing, and then how to identify and eliminate your constraints. So as I said, for tickets, go to Eventbrite and search Transform Your Business. You'll get there and be able to join that workshop. I'm going to tell you, again, for the next couple of weeks, we'll talk about the Toastmasters elevator speech contest we've got going at the Oldsmar Top of the Morning Club. The dates for that are still September 16th and 30th. That's for the first qualifying rounds. You can go to one of those qualifying rounds. We start at 8 a.m. You'll give your elevator speech. It'll last for at least a minute and a half. You'll get judged by the Toastmasters evaluation staff. And if you're a winner, you'll move on to October 7th and compete in the finals. And then at that point, we'll award three grand prizes, and one will be a gift certificate to Panera, another for Starbucks, and another for your free dues to join the Toastmasters Club. So you can go on our Facebook page and find us there, and also you can go to Eventbrite and use that ticketing information. Just go to Top of the Morning Club, and you will find that particular information. So now, all that said and done, all the necessities are taken care of. It's now the time to talk with Mark. As I said earlier, he's a certified financial planner. And write this down now so that when he starts talking, you don't have to worry about how to get in touch with him. His phone number is 727-258-9001. Or if you don't like dialing the phone anymore, you can send him an email at Mark, that's M-A-R-K, at Vernick Financial, V-E-R-N-I-C-K, Financial.com. I really get off on this spelling. You should hear when I spell my
I believe your listeners know how to spell financial. I think they got that covered.
Okay.
Vernick might be another story.
Okay. I just want to make sure they didn't think there was an underscore or a dash, because I've seen some strange email addresses. So anyway, Mark is a very, very high integrity person. So why don't we turn it over to Mark, and why don't you tell us about your experience and your career and how you got your business to where it is today?
Wow, so do I get to start like when I was born, or do I have to go a little later than that?
Well, we got 45 minutes.
Well, so I'm a certified financial planner, as you said. The letters are CFP. We always joke about people with letters after their name. You know, the only two people who really care is the person who has them and their mother. Nobody else really cares. But what it means is I'm schooled in investment planning and tax planning and retirement planning, cash management, things like that. And I've been doing this now for 22 years. So I've been at it for a while. I didn't take the traditional route, though. In fact, I think you might appreciate this, that the traditional route in my business is to start with a big firm, one of the big name firms, and you start and you they used to call it dialing for dollars. It was this horrible process of calling people on the telephone and trying to convince them to invest in some particular stock or something. That was never me, could never be me, not interested in that at all. So I took a very unusual tact of hanging a shingle, basically, and waited for people to knock at my door, which for many years didn't work very well. But eventually, I like to joke about being an overnight success after 22 years. So 22 years later, here I am, and that's what I do.
Very good. You're clearly a person of integrity, so I'd like to have the audience know what your core values are and how you built your company on those core values.
Thank you. I appreciate those kind words. I like to think of myself as being of high integrity, and I think that that's really one of the attributes that you need to find in a good financial advisor. And so we built our practice. I built my practice, my firm, around that concept, and that concept is that we're not really in the business to do transactions. The old school model was very transactional. You would sell somebody an investment or an insurance product or something like that and receive a commission in return, and it was very transactional based. We've really built the practice on a long-term type of process where we want a long-term relationship with our clients, and so we do more of a fee-based model. So primarily we manage assets and we charge a fee based on those assets. So as one of my clients like to say, they said, I feel like we're sitting on the same side of the table, because if I'm making an investment for them, if I'm buying or selling or changing an investment, they know I'm doing it because I believe it's in their best interest and meets the goals and objectives that we set forth. So in a nutshell, what we're trying to do is I don't make as much money in a given year than commissions are much higher in revenues, but my goal is to keep a client for the long term, 7, 10, 15, 20 years we've had clients. And that's really where it becomes advantageous to me and I believe obviously advantageous to my clients as well.
It's kind of funny you bring that up, because I remember those days back in the early and mid-'90s when you did get those phone calls fairly frequently. And it was always, not always, but many times it was tough to gauge who was on the other end of that phone, for one, but why they were trying to sell that particular stock was another, and whether or not you really are getting any good information. But when we come back from break, we'll finish that thought, and we'll be back shortly.
If you're struggling to pay or haven't been making your student loan payments, listen carefully to this urgent alert. Have you been out of school for 10 or more years and you're still making your student loan payments? Are your student loans past due or even in default? Can't go back to school because of an old student loan problem? We can help you if you qualify. Your student loans can be taken out of default. We can stop the wage garnishments, stop the collection calls, and stop the seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and see if we can help you reduce your student loan payments. One quick 10-minute call could solve them right now. So call the Student Loan Helpline now. 800-731-7534, 800-731-7534, 800-731-7534, 800-731-7534. This is a fee-based document preparation service to help you access free government programs. Call for complete details, not available in all states.
We have a special guest on the line, Pete Rose. Pete, how you doing, buddy?
Rick, I'm doing all right. How you doing?
Good to talk to you. Bill called me and told me you were coming on. So excited. I know you got the new thing on TLC.
Pete hits and misses. Exciting. We're having a lot of fun and going there and just talking sports with you.
Fires, Rose swings. There it is! There it is! Get out! Get out! All right! Hit number 4192.
Rocket Sports here on the Tan Talk Radio Network. Join Rick Sassone in the Rocket Sports Show Fridays from noon to 2 p.m.
Go yard is a metaphor used in baseball, meaning to hit a home run. Life struggles can make you feel like you just struck out. It's times like these that we need a little batting practice to pick ourselves back up and get back in the game. Whether you are dealing with marital issues, drug addiction, rebellious teens, anxiety, depression, or just generally having a bad day, call Mama Mac. If life has you down 0-2, before you strike out, learn to go yard. Go yard with Mama Mac on this radio station, Thursdays, 6 o'clock.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network, AM 1340, WTAN.
Welcome back, business leaders and those that want to be. We do this show to build our community's economic engine, and that's you, small business owners. You're part of the Focal Point Radio Show on Tan Talk 1340. I'm Gil Pinney, your Focal Point business coach, and I'm here with Mark Vernick from Vernick Financial. Please call us at 727-441-3000 or send us a tweet at PinneyG. Prior to break, we were talking about how Mark began his business, and he did not choose the traditional route, which was, as he said, dialing for dollars. I was reminiscing getting those calls from those individuals that did that.
It's a nice term for them. Individuals.
And never had that warm feeling from them. And I must say I did fall prey once, foolishly, and invested a very small amount. And I eventually lost it a year and a half later because the stock went defunct. So I never made that mistake again. And always from then on, whoever was making the call, I want to know who they were, what their background was, and meet with them face to face before I ever gave them any money. The part that that those individuals were preying on was I didn't have time to meet them because I was too busy. I was flying around the world at the time and working my job and didn't have really time to pay attention to where my money was going. So somebody was more than willing to take it away from me. So let's talk about marketing. How do you market your firm and the products that you put out there, and what method has been most effective for you?
So, again, kind of old school was, and if you lived in this area for any length of time, you know that there was the big seminar circuit. I call them the dog and pony shows, where people would have these seminars and come for a free lunch, and they would generally be selling some sort of high commission product because these folks would be spending $5,000, $7,000, $8,000, $10,000 to put one of these big. By the time they did the mailers and they paid for the lunch and did all those types of things, that was never my MO. I'm a big believer in know, like, and trust. I believe that if you're going to hire a financial advisor, you've got to know, like, and trust them times 10, really, because you're handing, like you said, if you're going to have somebody look at your money, you want to handle your money for you, want to be confident that they're doing the right thing. So to me, it's all about networking. I don't believe that I can run an ad in the newspaper and have people go, gosh, I want to go invest my money with Mark Vernick because he ran a really cool ad in the newspaper. So networking is really the key. Probably the best thing I've done is a networking group that I've been a part of for a long period of time, a BNI networking group. And then also a lot of community involvement. I've been involved with the Better Business Bureau for years, with SPCA and hospice, and in doing so have met a lot of people who are able to refer me business, like estate planning attorneys and CPAs and other local business professionals. And that's really the key to me, is getting to know people, and doing that networking seems to be the best avenue for me.
I'm going to spiel back a little bit of what you said, just to summarize. It really is a great philosophy, regardless of what type of business you're in, to be part of a networking group, get a number of people to know you more than just Mark Vernick, the CFP, but know you as an individual. You also named a couple of groups, SPCA for one, where you're giving back to the community, and the people in those organizations get to know you as well and learn that you're both trustworthy, you're committed to the community as well, and therefore you generate more clientele and you keep that clientele.
Right, and like-minded people, people who share your interests and things, always makes it nice and easier.
Okay, now we've got your business built. We know how you market it. Let's talk about how you interface with the small business owner. What ways do you have to help him manage his tax burden, yet provide a good nest egg for that business owner, assuming he's got a profitable business?
Right. Well, so we do a lot of work with small to medium-sized business owners, and usually the nice problem that oftentimes they have, and if they're working with you, we certainly know they're going to have, and that is that they're making a good profit, which in turn means the tax man wants to get their fair share. So one of the most common things we do with small business owners is we open some sort of retirement plan. And there's all sorts of letters and names, and people know 401ks and IRAs, but there are other things, SEPs and Simples, and it's a whole long conversation that would put your listeners to sleep if I went into all of them. But the point is simply that we give them an avenue to take some of that profit and put it into a vehicle that's a great long-term savings vehicle, which is important for their retirement, but currently it also saves them taxes. And so the example I like to use is if you put $1,000 into a retirement account of some type, whatever letters we decide to use, and you're having a banner year, a profitable year, maybe you're in a 33% marginal tax bracket. So basically, a third of every dollar you put in reduces your taxes by that amount. So if you put $1,000 into an IRA and you're in a 33% tax bracket, you just save $330 on your taxes. So I'm a net sum guy. So it's almost like you only had to put in $670 into your IRA instead because you save that much on your taxes. So it's a great problem to have. We love when people have a successful business and they have that issue. But that is probably one of the most common things we do is help them save on taxes and save for retirement at the same time.
Okay. Now that feeds right into business leaders that have seasonal cash flow as well, where they have, it's slim pickings possibly during, in our case in this area, in the summertime, yet in the springtime they have pretty good profits, so they can put their money away in the springtime and nothing during the summer, and then hopefully more in the fall.
Right. So, listen, in an ideal world, we'd be able to set up this monthly stipend that goes into a retirement account, on a regular basis. And I think that's a great way to do it if somebody has that kind of even cash flow and it makes sense for them. But it's oftentimes not the case with the business owner. I'm sure your business owner listeners are out there nodding their heads right now. It'd be great. That's one of the difference of being in business for yourselves is you don't have that steady paycheck, and so you have to budget accordingly. So one of the nice things that a retirement plan allows for is, and depending on the type of plan and when you set it up and a myriad of other different issues that arise, but oftentimes we can fund, for example, we could fund 2015's retirement plan all the way up until you file your taxes in 2016. So we have that opportunity to look back and say, gosh, we had a very profitable year, and if we have enough time to come up with the cash, we can dump it in for the prior year and save a bunch of money on our taxes. So it's kind of a way of being able to be reactionary instead of proactive. I prefer to be proactive when possible, but it's not always possible. So it gives us that way to go back and save some tax dollars.
Well, it's good to know that if you did have a banner year that, A, you don't have to pay taxes on it, but B, you just inflated your overall retirement account, and hopefully that's going to, depending on your age, get much larger as you get
Right.
as
The
you get
old
older and the
win-win.
business goes.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
it's a real win-win.
Yeah.
Let's talk about retirement plans for our employees. I like to, probably similar to you, I like to build those retirement plans so that it, not necessarily a golden parachute, but it's a golden hook. It keeps them with the company. The longer they're with the company, the more valuable the retirement plan gets, and also the more, as they get more valuable, the employee, and no more, they want to stay longer because they've got a bigger chunk of money in the till. So
Right.
how do you build those?
Right. So obviously we said one of the benefits of having a business retirement plan is for the business owner. And that's predominantly, usually the first thing that we're looking at when we're setting up a retirement plan. And then also, if you have important employees, and certainly most of us do, and if we're running our business right, then our employees are very important to us. And so we want to get the best employees that we can, and then we want to retain those employees as well. So a retirement plan is one of those things. I don't know about you, but if I was out looking for a job, I would want to know, gosh, is there a retirement plan, and is there a match, and how does all that work? Because it's an important employee benefit. So I think what you're alluding to, Gil, is that we oftentimes can have, it's called a vesting schedule. So with a 401k, if you're putting in money, there may be a match. That's the term. The term is if my employee's putting in some part of that, I'm going to match. It's usually maybe something like 3% of their salary, and if they put in $1 of their salary, I'll put in $1 up to 3% of their salary. And so why would you do that? Well, you do that as a benefit to your employee. You do that to help them save for retirement. But you can also have this vesting schedule where that $1 that you put in, the first year they may only be eligible to keep 20% of that if they leave. After the second year, it's 40%. After the third year, it's 60%, and so on. So by having that vesting schedule over time, it keeps them around because they want to make sure and get that money that you put in for them.
Very good. Well, we're going to take a break right now, and we'll finish that topic upon our return. With that, we're going to be back in just a few seconds.
Established in 1922, the Clearwater Regional Chamber of Commerce set out with the vision to be the premier voice of business in the Clearwater region. Representing more than 1,400 member businesses, the Clearwater Regional Chamber of Commerce is one of the largest chambers in the Bay Area and has become a large and powerful voice for its members through its ability to partner with other agencies and advocate on behalf of business and its members. The Clearwater Regional Chamber of Commerce's mission is to enhance the business environment and promote economic health and growth in the Clearwater region. For more information about the Clearwater Regional Chamber of Commerce, visit their website at www.clearwaterflorida.org. Once again, that's www.clearwaterflorida.org for the Clearwater Regional Chamber of Commerce.
Hi, this is Tim Del Toro.
And I'm Lou Angelwolf, and we are the Grease Gurus.
Our show is broadcast every Saturday morning live at WTAN Tan Talk Radio 1340.
That's 10 o'clock every Saturday morning for an automotive forum that is flavored with humor and insight.
We encourage you to call in and be part of the Grease Gurus show.
We'd love to have you, and we will certainly help you find your inner grease.
This show is sponsored by Tim's Performance Service Center in beautiful Tarpon Springs at 906 Verona Place, and you can reach us personally at 727-543-1601.
Aha.
Hi, this is Patsy with a Z. Have you written a book? Want to write one? Or do you just enjoy reading? Listen to Joy on Paper every Tuesday morning at 11 o'clock for the story behind the book as I interview best-selling authors, agents, and publishers. Remember, that's Joy on Paper on Tampa Bay's Tan Talk Radio, 1340 WTAN.
Arg, matey. When it's time for lunch, when it's time for dinner, when the show's over, when the day's over, when it's time to chill, where do we go? Over to Naughty Nancy's Food Shack and Crow's Nest Pub. It's literally in our backyard, right in back of the WTAN studios at 700 Eldridge Street, just north of downtown Clearwater. Just look for the broadcast tower. Nancy's food and atmosphere get rave reviews. The laid-back patio is a great place to hang out, dine, and listen to live music at night. And Nancy's one of the friendliest proprietors in town. And now, Nancy is serving Sunday Jazz Brunch from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Brunch served with Eggs Benedict, crepes, waffles, lox and bagels, shrimp, oysters, and a build-your-own omelet. That's all at Naughty Nancy's Food Shack and Crow's Nest Pub, 700 Eldridge Street in Clearwater. That's right where Eldridge crosses the Pinellas Trail between Myrtle and Fort Harrison. Call 446-3717. 446-3717. You're listening to the Tan Talk Radio Network.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network, AM 1340, WTAN.
Hey, welcome back. We do this show to build our community's economic engine, and that's you, the small business owner. You are part of the Focal Point Radio Show here on Tan Talk 1340. My name is Gil Pinney, and I am your Focal Point business coach. I'm here with Mark Vernick of Vernick Financial. Please tweet any questions to @PinneyG or give us a call at 727-441-3000. And as far as Mark's number goes, we'll give out his information again. It's 727-258-9001 if you would like to call him. Or if you'd like to send him an email, you can do that at mark, M-A-R-K, @vernickfinancial.com. All one word. Okay? So now you can contact him at your leisure or as soon as possible, according to Mark. He'd like to hear from you right away. We were talking about employee retirement plans and how to, not necessarily how to structure them, but how to put a vesting program in place to where you gain both more employee loyalty and longevity. Can you finish off on that point, Mark?
Yeah, sure. So, again, that's most commonly in a 401k plan. And the whole idea is that although you're adding extra money for the employee, this match, the carrot is that they have to stick around long enough in order to obtain all of it. So, again, it's amongst other things, a retirement plan can be an employee retention device as well.
Very good. Okay. We both work with one common denominator, and that's business leaders and their exit strategy. And that exit strategy can either be the end of the end of the business, meaning the retirement plan and executing on a retirement plan, or planning to sell the business. As I have told my clients many times, there's a lot of planning that goes into that particular thought process because you have to get the business in a good position to sell. You have to systematize and prioritize what's in the business so you can maximize that sell price so that you can increase the number of people that you can sell that business to. Well, I think the same holds true for the financial planning portion of that, to where you have to look at that, well, probably at least 5 years in advance, to where, A, you're putting more money away for the retirement, and B, making sure your business is in the proper position to sell it. So what transition planning do you work with your clients to get them ready?
Right. So oftentimes, small business owners, the biggest asset that they really have is their business itself, because you're putting money back in, You may not have a lot of, listen, I love for my clients to set up retirement accounts and fund them and do all those things, but I also understand that oftentimes the best thing you can do with your money as a small business owner is to roll it back into the business, because that's where the most profit for you can be made. But having said that, then we really need to treat that asset appropriately so that when it comes time for retirement, we've got something there. And really, honestly, if I can have somebody working with a business coach in that regard, it's very helpful, because they need somebody to help guide them to maximize the value, not only in their head and in my head, but on paper. Listen, we're all geared towards, we want to pay our taxes, and I'm sure that most of us agree that it's important to pay your fair share and do all those things, but we're also going to do those legal things that we can in our business to try and minimize our taxation while we're working and things like that. But sometimes, as you approach wanting to sell the business, it's important that all your profits show up on the paper that you can actually show somebody. So sometimes it's a matter of making sure that we're categorizing things correctly and showing the profits that we're truly making, and making sure that it's transparent so that when we go to sell the business, it shows the best. It's kind of like prepping your house. When you're getting ready to list your house, you've got to put it in the best light possible. And so there is some planning going forward, Gil, that I know you work with people all the time on doing to make sure that we're shining it and polishing it up and making it as attractive as possible.
Yeah, what Mark's talking about is what your income statement looks like if you're knowingly pulling a lot of money out of the business, paying for your gas, your car, possibly some household expenses, things like that are really beneficial to the owner and reduce the overall tax burden of the business. But as you get closer and closer to the sell point, generally people pay on a multiple of the net profitability. And so if you can increase that profit by paying taxes on what you formerly would have taken as a deduction from the business, it may be a lot smarter to do that, because it's the reverse of the 33% you were talking about before. Now you're going to gain the 66% on the bottom line and drive up that sell price. And so that 66% you multiply by 2.5, 3 times, and now you're up to 180% for spending 30%. So it does make a significant amount of sense to do that. So business owners and business leaders, think about that exit strategy. Focus on both your short-term goal, and if you're plowing money back into the business, make sure you're getting that return. Because if you're dealing with Mark, you're going to get anywhere from 5 to 20% annual. So if you're plowing money back into your business and only getting 2%, then you might want to think about looking at the business a little differently. You want to get your growth higher, and that's where either you work with Mark or you work with me. And one of the two of us will get you up there on a higher growth pattern. We'll ask a different type of question. One of the things I hear often is business leaders think that they're either Superman or Superwoman. No kryptonite disaster will ever occur to them or to any more of their key employees. That's not always true. Kryptonite does come. It does fall from the sky. Some bad things do happen to businesses. What emergency planning do you recommend on the financial side?
Right. So we just talked about the fact that oftentimes the most valuable place for you to put your money is to put it back into your business, and that can be your largest asset, not only for you, but your family and those that you take care of. And so we need to guard that asset as much as we can. I can tell you from my own personal perspective, I have a planning practice. It's a business. And if something were to happen to me, that proverbial bus runs me over, it's important for me and for my family and for my clients that we have a contingency plan. And that's kind of what we're alluding to here, is what happens if something goes awry. And that could be disability, it could be death, it could be a myriad of different things. And so in my case, we worked initially with another advisor who does what I do, and we had an agreement. So if something happened to me, that person would be able to service my clients, because my clients have to leave, right? If there's nobody there to service their accounts and work with them, they can't just leave it sit there. They need somebody. They've hired me to do a job, and if there's nobody to do that job, they've got to go elsewhere. So it's true of any business owner. So you need to have that contingency plan. So a lot of times that contingency plan is maybe a key employee who could take over if something happened to you. Maybe it's somebody in a similar business that can do that. But then you have to talk about how do we fund it? If I had another business owner who was going to take over my practice, ideally they would buy me out. They would buy my family out. So we create things like buy-sell agreements and things like that. It's a legal document that an attorney would do. And then sometimes we say, well, where are we going to come up with the money to pay for it? And it may be an insurance product at that point, maybe a life insurance product or something, so that, my wife, of course, is a wonderful person, and everybody would happy to be in business with my wife. I'm smiling here. You can't see it through the radio. But you may be in a business where you have a partner, for example, and you don't want to be in business with that spouse if something happens to your partner. So we want to structure an agreement and a way to pay off that spouse so that if something does happen, that they can exit, they can be made whole, the spouse does well, but yet you get to carry on with your business and don't have that issue.
Okay, very good. With respect to that type of insurance, there's what you're talking about is key employee insurance, and then there's the disability insurance for the business owner. And I think, from other conversations with other insurance people, there's a number of different policies that they can possess that helps them through that, depending on how long the disability may be, of 6-9 months. But from the financial side, what do you recommend for not necessarily the revenue side, but to continue making those payments in the business if you're not there? Do you move? Do you have power of attorney transferred to other people in your company? What is your plan? To me, you're not a typical owner, but you are an owner and you are sole proprietor pretty much of your company. So how would you look at that, particularly for key employees and
right. So there's legal agreements, which are one thing, that we have attorneys draw up, and that has to do with, if you've got a key person in your business and you have an agreement ahead of time, the last thing you want is a fire sale, so to speak, where it becomes an emergency and you have to cobble something together after this bad issue has occurred. And then there's insurance type avenues to help protect. So one is disability insurance. Disability insurance could be for me, or it could be for this key employee that I have in place, that, gosh, if I lose that key employee, they handle so many different things, I'm in trouble. And so as a business owner, I can buy insurance, life insurance, disability insurance on that key employee. So if they become disabled for a long period of time, then I can actually get revenue back into my business to help carry me over, or if, heaven forbid, they pass away, the same thing. I could have a life insurance policy that pays me, that lets me withstand that issue for a period of time.
Great. Well, time is flying. It's time for another break, folks. We'll be back shortly.
troubled mind. I left my body lying somewhere in the sands of time, but I watched the world float to the dark side of the moon. I feel there's nothing I can do.
Let's Go Bowling, heard on the Tan Talk Radio Network every Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 12 Eastern Time. Sponsored by 12 Strike and Innovative Ball Spinner. If you bowl, if you haven't bowled in a while, or if you never bowled, why don't you be one of 65 million people have bowled last year? Listen to the Tip of the Week. Bowling stars, old and new. Let's Go Bowling Show. GoBowlingShow.com.
Did you know there's a sprawling botanical paradise right in your own backyard? Come visit Sunken Gardens. Located at 1825 4th Street North, it's St. Petersburg's oldest living museum. This 100-year-old garden is home to some of the oldest tropical plants in the region. Unwind as you stroll through meandering paths, lush with exotic plants from around the world. Explore cascading waterfalls, beautiful demonstration gardens, and more than 50,000 tropical plants and flowers. Sunken Gardens provides garden tours, horticultural programs, special events, field trips, weddings, private or corporate rentals, and much more. Call 727-551-3102 for more information. That's 727-551-3102. Sunken Gardens, 1825 4th Street North, right in the heart of Old Northeast St. Petersburg. Call 727-551-3102.
Do you have questions about relationships, sex, or both? Or are you just interested in these topics? Then we've got just the show for you. Intimate Chats with the Lovebirds is a relationship and sex talk show with me, Dr. Chuck Bird, and my wife, Dr. Joanne Bird. We are both board-certified clinical sexologists, relationship experts known as the Lovebirds, due to our last name and the work that we do. Listen to Intimate Chats with the Lovebirds every Friday night at 6 p.m., right here on the Tan Talk Radio Network. Also, watch and listen to us online at intimatechatshow.com.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network, AM 1340, WTAN.
Hey, we're back again. Welcome, business leaders. We do this show to build our community's economic engine, and that is you, the small business owner. You're part of the Focal Point Radio Show on Tan Talk 1340. I'm Gil Pinney, your Focal Point business coach. And I'm here with Mark Vernick from Vernick Financial. Please give us a call at 727-441-3000 or give us a tweet at Pinney G. Well, we've been talking with Mark now for a while, but let's stop talking about bad things that could happen, planning ahead. Let's talk a little bit about where you see or what the prognostication is for the stock market. You can't sit down with a financial planner and not see what kind of thoughts they have as to what either precipice we're coming to or what kind of mountain we're going to continue to climb. The market continues to rise. I think part of that is as long as the Fed keeps generating money, it doesn't have any choice. But what are your thoughts, Mark?
Well, so I have a joke about prognostication or those other advisors who say they have I call it the secret sauce. They have this secret method that nobody else knows about, that they're going to be able to look into the market and see what to do and when to do it, and they've got a special methodology that only they have and never works for anybody else. And my advice to my clients when they run across that is run the other way, because nobody knows for sure. Having said that, we certainly have some beliefs and see certain things in the market, and it's important. We do a ton of reading and spend a lot of time on it. And I don't expect any great shakes in the market, any great returns this year. I think that in the foreseeable future, you're going to need to get used to more single-digit returns instead of double-digit returns that you've seen in the past, for the next few years. But having said that, I'm a huge believer in being in the market and staying in the market, trying to do the hokey pokey and jump in and jump out and find the right timing is in my 22 years experience a loser's game. And so the more important part than trying to pick a segment or direction of the market for next week or next month is to create a portfolio, a group of investments that's going to work for you for the long term and adjust that group of investments over time, as opposed to trying to pick what's going to happen tomorrow or next week or next month. I do spend a lot of time reading and studying, and I guess if I was going to give some ways to not put all your money, but maybe overweight or give a little direction, I believe that you talked about the Fed pouring money in. A lot of people, and myself included, feel that Europe is about 3 years behind us in pouring money at the problem. And so I believe a little overweight in Europe, even with the problems in Greece and things like that, just because they're kind of lagging about 3 years behind what we've done in the U.S. For the longer term, even with the change, excuse me, with China and what they've done devaluing their currency, I still believe that emerging markets in general are an important place to be for the long haul, just because of the growth that's still occurring there. And I believe that there's some caution that needs to be held on the bond side of things. Long story short is, as interest rates rise, it tends to devalue bonds, especially longer-term bonds. So sometimes, the consensus is that bonds are more conservative than stocks, and that's primarily true, but you need to be conscious of the risk that's there due to interest rates.
That's cool. Just listening to you speak, it was kind of funny. We talked about the dialing for dollars, and 20 years ago, how people would get the calls. Well, you think about 20 years ago, and it's really, to me, kind of astonishing having you talk about China and Europe and Greece and stuff way outside the country. 20 years ago, guess what? Nobody was looking that globally about our economy, because it really wasn't global yet. People were talking. We were just starting to move factories over to China. We were just beginning the marketing of, well, not just beginning. In some products, we were looking more global at production and sales. But now the economies are so intertwined that, what hiccups in the Ukraine can cause a burp in the United States. It's really kind of amazing in such a short period of time how the world economy is really almost one now. And it's got, as you said, it's got its pros and it's got a lot of cons, but it is amazing how we've become dependent on one another around the world for our security.
Absolutely. Security and the economy as a whole, as you said. It's all intertwined and interacts together, and the value of the U.S. dollar going up has a lot of pros and a lot of cons, So, and the same thing, devaluing their dollar in China, their currency in China, has pros and cons to them as well. And understanding what that means to various investments is key to what I do. So,
yeah. The devaluing always bothered me. Having a strong U.S. dollar always meant that the products that I was selling around the world got way more expensive. And then, as with China, they're going to devalue their currency, which means they're going to sell more stuff to us because it's going to be way less expensive for us to buy it instead of having it make it here. Because over the last 3 to 5 years, we moved a lot of production back to the U.S., and now, depending on the cost of goods, has the potential of moving back toward China. Well, we'll finish this up in a little bit, but I want to make sure that we talk about what Gil Pinney does for a living, and that's as a business coach, and remind you that are listening that I'm always available for a free consultation. If you would like that, please call me at 727-537-9680. If there's any uncertainty about your business or the direction you're going, give me a call. Let's talk. There's no cost to you, and the benefit you get, it's going to be one of the better hours you'll spend. It'll be a good hour. It'll be a win-win for both of us. And remember Einstein's definition: doing the same thing every day, hoping for a different result. That's called insanity. So look at yourself in the mirror and say, hey, I'm going to give this guy a call. You can get free information, and we'll have a good sit down together. So you can email me at gilpinney@yahoo.com or call me on that phone at 727-537-9680. Having a business coach, don't fear about the cost. We have a program that can fit any budget. We do one-on-one coaching. For those that want directed, personalized, customized schedules, we do that. We do group coaching. As I said earlier at the broadcast, I have a new group coaching session. My tongue is dry. It begins on September 29th and carries through November 17th. You get your behavioral assessment, the DISC assessment, you get business clarity, personal strategic plan, great value. Go to the Eventbrite website and look at the Transform Your Business platform, and you'll be able to sign up for that. We also do workshops. Those workshops can be geared toward revenue growth, goal setting, time management, strategic planning, team building. Again, just send me that email, and we'll talk, and we'll get a program built just for your organization. Anybody that gives me an email will get that 1 hour free session on the books. And again, this has got to be the easiest thing for you because there's no risk, no hard sell. It's not like me. But remember what it was like to hit that first hole in one or hit your home run? That's what it feels like when your business gets under control. So we've got a couple of minutes left, Mark. Any final thoughts on your side? What should we review? What, if we're going home today, and what's the things we ought to focus on if we're a business owner? Is it the 401k plans, the retirement plans, your safety net with respect to emergency? What key things should we be looking at?
Well, I just hearing you talk, I just find that there's so many analogies between what you and I do. And, you know, in my industry, one of the favorite sayings, adages that you'll hear is people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. And I think the same is true in what you do. And it's all about planning, taking the time to actually work on your business, work on your financial plan as opposed to just working in your business. And I think that's really the key, whether any of those topics can relate to that, but actually taking the time to do the planning.
Very good. Yes. It's very good for everybody to think about that and take the time, which is why we do a lot of time management courses, by the way, because people avoid doing what they don't like. And so part of the time management program is to get people to do the things that they don't like first in the day, and that way the rest of the day goes much easier. But by doing those things first in the day, not only are they done, but you think about your planning, you think about your financial side, the things you like to push to the end of the week or the end of the year. So it really is a good thing to do to think about. And you're right, joining forces with a business coach helps people formulate those ideas and get themselves on track along with their business. It is just a nice method to do and to get that planning out of the way. We'll wrap things up here shortly. I need to thank Mark again. I really, really appreciate his time and his insight. If you can give him a call, please do. You can reach him at 727-258-9001 or give him that email at mark@vernickfinancial.com. Our series on the financial side of your business and cost control continues next week. Our guest will be Betsy Zach. She's a commercial finance expert, and she'll be talking about financial loans, how to get short-term loans, get cash quickly, but not at excessive interest cost. With that, we'll be talking with you next week, and it's been a great show. Thank you very much, Mark.
Thank you, Gil.
WTAN, Clearwater, Tampa Bay. WDCF, Dade City, Tampa Bay. WZHR, Zephyr Hills, Tampa Bay. Listen.
More victims of the IRS hack attack, battling the growing heroin problem. I'm Ann Cates. The scope of the cyber breach at the IRS